standing on the ticket of the NPP. Also, Delali Kwesi Brimpong, who was standing on the ticket, who's also a pharmacist, standing on the ticket of the NDC. There was William Dowokbo of the PPP as well. And the LPG, Liberation Party of Ghana, had their candidate in there, Clement Pwedi. Now, around 9 a.m., we started hearing reports of violence. Roland Walker reported on this platform that this event had occurred. 50 to 60 people in NSC branded shirts branded NSC, went to the home of Delali Kwesi Brimpong, who is the NDC's parliamentary candidate, or what's the NDC's parliamentary candidate. And in the exchange of words that ensued, gunshots were heard. Roland himself reported that he saw these men using axes on NDC sympathizers and supporters. Things were very, very sketchy at the time. But of course, what I'm about to play for you is a description of a video recording of one of the main events that occurred in that particular melee.
So wrong. This is so wrong on every score. But no matter how long.
Now, on the dusty Baoleshi Park, a huge platoon of heavily armed police officers sit in the backets of a number of pickup trucks. Others in grey khaki trousers and black tops can be seen milling to and fro. And suddenly, this voice is heard. This is so wrong on every score. The voice of Ningo Prampram MP Sam George, who storms towards one of the pickup trucks full of heavily armed police officers and other security operatives. Mr. George is in a shirt, the color a shade of green, worn over a pair of khaki trousers. As he moves forward, he is held back by another man who is also in khaki trousers. It's unclear who this person is. But just when he leaves Mr. George, the MP fingers the air and then points two fingers to the ground, reiterating, "This is so wrong to beat a man in his own house." Now, he shouts the complaint even stronger. As the MP continues, he turns to respond to a voice from the direction of the pickup trucks. But even before his own confrontation will start, a man on his side is given a big slap by another man in plain cloth. At this point, all hell breaks loose and a number of security men jump out of the pickup trucks and head towards the point of action. Sam George is now attacked by a well-built man in plain clothes, wearing a black t-shirt, a pair of trousers and running shoes. The man in black now throws his hand towards the cheek of Mr. George, akin to a slap. A police officer rushes to the scene and tries to restrain the attacker, but the man throws his hand again, and now Mr. George begins to retreat. But a police officer rushes towards him and gives him a left hook. One more hit and the video ends.
So who were these men? Who were these police officials as described in the video? What was their locus there? What were they sent there to do? Who sent them? We asked George Alex Mensah, COP George Alex Mensah, who is Director of Operations at the Ghana Police Service. Listen.
We need to investigate to see those who actually came, whether they were policemen or from the national security or wherever they came from.
But I'm asking, is it professional? So you are denying that they are your members?
I'm not denying anything.
No, but you say you don't know them.
Yes, because all my men are not masked.
So by extension, you are denying that they are your members?
Don't put words in my mouth. I'm telling you that my men are not masked. There are policemen here. You can see from police, military, nobody is masked. If there were people who were masked, where are they from? Are they from the police? Are they from the national security? Are they from any other forces? We need to investigate.
And that was COP George Alex Mensah. He is in charge of operations as the Ghana Police Service. After all of this, of course, Mr. John Mahama, former president of Ghana, halted his ongoing campaign. Of course, he's on a campaign tour of the Volta region, soliciting for votes within his party NDC to be made flag bearer in the 2020 elections. He came back to come and see, visit these persons who were wounded, 18 people who were wounded in the end. And he had this to say yesterday.
MPP is taking this power as a matter of life and death. They said it already. They said all die, be die. And they are acting out and living the reality of the all die, be die. I'm sure that this evening when you turn on your televisions, you will see what happened at Ayawaso West. And so we are not going to joke in 2020. And I'm sounding a warning to the MPP. We're going to match them boot for boot. We respect the constitution of this country. And NDC is a democratic party. And that's why we abide by the rules of the constitution. But the same constitution says that Ghanaians should resist anybody who attempts to subvert the constitution. And when you go rampaging with forces and intimidating people when they should come out and vote, you are subverting Ghana's constitution, and we have a right to resist you. And so we'll get a full briefing of what happened, but I just want to sound a caution that NDC has revolutionary roots, and that when it comes to unleashing violence, nobody can beat us in unleashing violence. It is just that we midwife this country's democracy. And so we must be the first to respect the country's democracy. And that is why we are acting as a party that is very docile and respecting the rule of law. But if we believe that the government cannot protect our people, and we believe that the government is using its vigilante groups and illegal forces to intimidate and harass and injure our people, then we will have to advise ourselves.
John Dramani Mahama there, former president of Ghana. Let's hear Mr. COP Kofi Boakye now. He is in police director in charge of PIPS. He was speaking at the beginning of the year in this New Year school, talking about vigilantism and political violence. Listen.
The police service, we assure you, in spite of the intimidation, in spite of the personal interest, in spite of the fact that political integrity is somehow supported by elements within both political parties, we are prepared to face it head on. And we need your support. We need the support of civil society. Because if we leave it to the politicians alone, we will fail. We need to come together and say enough is enough. Because if you bring the whole Ghana police from all the regions to Accra, and there is a political rout, the police cannot control it because of numbers. Not because we cannot do it, but because of numbers and support. I don't want to talk about the security architecture of this country, because one of my colleagues spoke about the security architecture, Dr. Agojo, and he was fried. But he was speaking the truth, nothing but the truth. The criminal justice system, the whole criminal justice system, should support the fight against vigilantism. And when I say that, I mean the police, the Attorney General, and the judiciary. But we cannot pay lip service to the fight against vigilantism and covertly support them with money, appointments, and whatever, what have you. Ghanaians should support police to deliver. And the support should not only be in terms of what they can give police to deliver, but you must let your voice be heard. This vigilantism is something which is clear and present danger to our democracy. And it is escalating. It's not coming down. Because something has not happened. But I can assure you, if we don't sit up, police, political parties, both NDC and MPP, civil society, those who know better, if we all don't sit up, 2020 and beyond will be something explosive, and it can be something that will not be able to contain. Having said that, the assurance is that the government is giving us the necessary equipments now, and in fight against riot and all those things, we need equipments. But even if you get all these equipments and arrest people, and they just give them a slap at the bottom. Go and don't sin again. It will continue. But until also we change our security architecture through the constitutional provisions and amendments, we will have a long way to go in fighting vigilantism, which is clear, present, imminent, and dangerous route we are all going. Thank you very much.
COP Kofi Boachide, his police director of PIPS there, speaking at the beginning of the year at the New Year School. Right. So this is where we are now. We're going to go straight to the phone lines and speak with Dr. Kojo Asante. He's the Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at CDD Ghana. He's joined us on the line. Dr. Asante, thanks for joining us. What do you make of the Ayawaso incident, and what does it mean for the 2020 elections? Good morning, Dr. Asante. Good morning, Doctor. Dr. Kojo Asante is Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. He's joined us on the line. Good morning, Dr. Asante. Unfortunately, we are finding it difficult establishing contact with Dr. Kojo Asante. Let's hear, however, in spite of all that happened yesterday, there was an election. A winner was declared. Let's hear how Madam Lady Seram Al-Hassan was declared winner of the election.
102. Clement Wedi LBG 17. Lydia Seram Al-Hassan NPP 12,041. Brings the total valid broadcast to 17,501. We had 88 rejected votes. Total votes in the ballot box, therefore, is 17,589. Ladies and gentlemen, from these results, Alex, representing the Chairman of the Electoral Commission of Ghana, Mrs. G. Mensah, the Returning Officer for Ayawaso West Women Constituency, do hereby declare that Mrs. Seram Al-Hassan, Mrs. Lydia Seram Al-Hassan, has been elected as the MP elect for the Ayawaso West Women Constituency. Thank you very much.
You just said the declaration of Lydia Seram Al-Hassan as winner of the election. Let's hear Madam Seram Al-Hassan herself.
As I said earlier, this is a traditional MPP seat. I didn't expect anything less.
Some say that the violence intimidated NDC supporters to come out and vote.
It would have been tsunami if they didn't. It would have been.
Lydia Seram Al-Hassan speaking there. Let's go back to the phone lines, and we've gotten Dr. Asante now. Dr. Kojo Asante is Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at CDD Ghana. He's joined us on the line. Good morning, Dr. Asante.
Good morning, and good morning to you, listeners.
Great. So what do you make of this Ayawaso incident, and what does it mean for the 2020 elections?
Well, I think yesterday was quite a strange one. There's a lot of reflection that has to be done around security arrangements for elections. I mean, Ayawaso does not normally have the characteristics of a troubled constituency to require the level of heavy security presence that was deployed yesterday. And at the end, every indication from reports from video observers, it's very clear that it was absolutely counterproductive. And there was issues with coordination. A lot of the security agencies were not talking to each other. They are not being prepped, together to work together. So it created even tensions among security operatives at the polls, and it's really a real worry. I mean, yesterday, if it was any sign of what is likely to come in 2020, we have, and thank God, we have ample time to try and correct these things, because we are really putting ourselves in harm's way.
Some say that this has happened in the past and we still had peaceful elections after. A reference has been made, for instance, to reported incidents after the Talensi election and what have you, particularly from government spokespersons. And so this may be because in a by-election, there's a lot of concentration in one place, and that's why it's as pronounced as we see it.
There's always, I mean, that case is valid, but I think what is different is that the mobilization of vigilante groups in the past, I mean, you're talking about Talensi, even Akwetia, those were the beginnings of political vigilantism. That has changed, that dynamic has changed completely in the last couple of elections. Now you have vigilante groups who have branches and so on, and there's mobilization on both sides. So if you scale what has happened in Talensi and other places up on an election day, and if you begin to signal to people that this is just basically going to be a tit for tat, then you are creating a real security problem that I don't think anybody wants to confront on that day. So there's a lot of talking that has to be done. There's a lot of assurances. I mean, for one of the things, for example, if the police or the security intelligence said, people were going to mobilize and so on, one of the things that have been done very well in the past was to be giving warnings about movement. That's a very important thing, about how people are going to monitor, because there are rules about monitoring. So it's not just anybody going up and say, I'm going to go and monitor elections. So these kinds of just simple instructions, just to set the stage, to make sure that you can differentiate between people who are there to cause trouble and people who are just interested or supporting people. It's very, very helpful. We didn't do any of those things. So there are major issues, even in terms of security operatives, how they conduct themselves at polling stations, because there are rules as to who can enter a certain area within the polls. If laws are not being followed, it just creates chaos. So I think for me, these are different times, and I think that we all have to go back to the drawing board. And with the election security task force, which I don't think normally is not deployed for by-elections, but we need to think about the structures that are put in place to ensure that we avert real problems that might come up later in 2020.
Right. So you've talked also a bit about the coordination of the security agencies and how that was even done on the day and how that must be improved going forward. But here is the case where we saw sort of an open clash, if I can use that expression, between the security agencies and members of a certain political party. Now, regardless of what may have caused or what may have sparked this clash, or what hints the security operatives may have received to go there and act in that manner, what does it say about this balance that we must draw between security officials and political parties?
It's a very, I mean, some of the videos are quite uncomfortable to watch. I mean, any security person, who, try to slap an MP, or, I mean, just if you want to restrain somebody, an unarmed person, so the person might be saying things but that's what security people are trained to do. They can, an individual, a citizen, whoever, can be assaulting you and so on and so forth, but you're a trained security officer. If you have to ensure peace, order, law and order in a place, you don't go and start assaulting people. And if you can see a little bit of an indiscipline around some of these arrangements, and that raises a lot of questions about who is commanding, who is organizing, what the objectives of their presence is, and so on and so forth, what instructions people have been giving. It's just too chaotic and when you do that, you put everybody in harm's way when you do those things. It becomes a free for all. So some of the things I saw, I've seen in the videos, and I don't think anybody has doubted the authenticity of the videos. It's very disconcerting. It's a very strange. That's why I'm thinking that there's a huge coordination problem as to what some of these objectives, and you had so many different operatives, as I said, playing a role who have obviously not coordinated their actions, and so it created a lot of problems. The issue with party challenging police and trying to attack police, all of these things are serious things about law enforcement. But as I said in the past, I mean, it's not the first time we've handled these matters. The rules are set. There's very clear coordination, so people know where their boundaries are. But when it's open like that, it's very, very difficult to manage. And I think it just was not well done at all, and it's become really counterproductive. I mean, if you see the turnout, and I wouldn't be surprised, nobody would go into this kind of space. I think the last figures I saw was 90.something%.
Yes.
I mean, that's incredible for even a by-election. So it obviously, anybody who was listening, by early morning, you are hearing gunshots and so on. Nobody's going to go to the polls to go and vote. And I don't think that's what people want. Even Codewo observers were threatened. And I think it's one of the areas that also we have to watch, particularly with media, because for some reason, police people and security agents are reacting to they being videoed and so on because they don't want to be held accountable. And they are rather threatening people who want to hold them accountable. So the idea of masked, I mean, that is just, I don't know who thought about that. Masked men in daylight, broad daylight at election polls, you are just creating an atmosphere for violence. Because how are we going to hold those people accountable if they misbehave? Everybody who is there legitimately by law to enforce the law and order should be identified so that they can be held accountable. The same way electoral officials don't come there masked. The police officers, immigration officers who are supposed to provide security, they don't come there masked. So why is it that they should be there without a mask, and then you have people who come and they don't have a mask?
Right.
What is the objective of that? I think it's just it's just too, as I said, there's a lot of reflection to be had around these things, and I don't know, the security hierarchy have to really rethink how they want to deal with the issue of vigilantism. We have talked about these things, that we have to worry about it, but this kind of after the fact reaction is not going to solve any problem for anybody.
Dr. Asante, hold on for me just a moment, because we've seen former President Mahama, we've heard him speak, and we've seen the reaction of the various political parties. There's also the implication on the result of the election itself, because the NDC at a point pulled out of the election officially. But we will get another view on this incident from Captain Retired Budukumsin, the CEO of Nexus Consulting, Financial Leadership and Security. We are speaking to him on the implications of this violence, first of all, on the 2020 elections and security discipline. Captain, thanks for joining us.
Former President Mahama, we've heard him speak, and we've seen the reaction.
Right, I think one of you on the phone lines has a radio on. If you can turn it off for me. Captain Budukumsin, good morning.
Good morning.
In the first place, let's look at the behavior of these security officials at the home of Delali Brimpo. They went there masked. One of them ended up slapping a member of parliament. looks like Dr. Asante describes it as a clear sign of indiscipline. What do you make of that behavior?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to all our listeners. Are you referring to the video footage we all saw?
The video footage and what was witnessed by our reporters on the ground.
Yes. Well, I don't know whether that video footage was what happened in the house of the contestant, but I saw the video footage was in the open. It's quite worrying, the video footage we all saw. No one can downplay it. My first comment on it is that maybe command and control of those security agencies deployed needs to be looked at. And I don't know what the person who was gesticulating, I understand that's from George, that is the politician, what actually he was also talking about, or what really provoked that scene. I'm a bit at a loss and at sea. And I'm saying that we have to quickly investigate exactly what happened and put it out there to forestall misreporting and all sorts of things that could emanate from it.
I'm going to read a part of CODEO's statements, the Coalition of Domestic Election Observers, so we can look further at the behavior of some of these security officials. It says that CODEO observers witnessed a violent incident, including a shooting incident, which took place in the Baoleshi area at East Legon. So this is around the home of Delali Kwesi Bimpong. Of course, it started within it, and then they came out. Now, while the observers could not confirm the exact cause of the violent incident, CODEO is disappointed that an electoral exercise was subjected to such violence, which temporarily disrupted voters. Okay. Now, there were several instances of heavy and intimidating security presence as most polling stations observed. Many polling stations had not less than 5 uniformed security personnel, in some cases as high as 15. Okay. It goes on to describe a number of other incidents that happened, but this particular one in the Baoleshi area that we are talking about, where we saw an exchange, well, I can't say an exchange of gunfire, but we saw gunshots fired and persons injured. The police saying that they can't identify who these people were. What does it say about the state of our security systems?
Well, it's quite unfortunate. We have to look at the security architecture of the state in the first instance, like the former speaker also said. We have to look at the security architecture. What unit was this? Is it a special unit? Is it a special unit that has created to tackle some special issues? And was it a wrong unit to be deployed, which has been deployed for a wrong purpose? I have seen the GSG 9, that's GSG 9 of Germany, as the special forces, and it's an anti-terrorist squad or something. And very often when they operate very discreetly. If they are coming into the public, you see them trying to cover their real identities, because if they are that type of unit, nobody wants to identify them. But was it the right unit to deploy for this purpose? The special forces on a lot of these countries, they also operate and actually discreetly. And if they will come into public view where people will see them, they definitely also try to mask the identities. But the question is that what unit is this? And even if it is for that, considering the West African situation now, security situation now, where we have a lot of terrorist activities happening around, could it be a wrong unit deployed for a wrong purpose? I don't know. We have to look at the security architecture of the state. Another thing I could also say is that what I saw looked like, well, I say command and control has to be improved, but also open confrontation of security operatives or provocation should also be contained. Basically, without knowing exactly what really happened, we are all waiting for what really happened. Those are my basic comments that I'll make.
When you say command and control should be improved, what do you mean?
Command and control in the sense that, you see, the better trained a security agent is, the more he is able to withstand provocation. You've seen those security, the guards at Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
Right. You see how sometimes people go to tease them or whatever, they just try to see whether they will blink or do something.
Always
Those
stand
guys
stiff.
are really, really highly trained special forces. And you see what happens. I mean, it's very difficult for you to provoke them to do something. Sometimes if troops, I have commanded troops before in some funny situations. If your troops are not really, really well trained to withstand provocation and to listen to instructions of commanders, this thing can happen. That's what I mean. Command and control of the security forces there on the ground has to be looked at.
So this could be a sign of inadequate training of some sort?
Well, in analyzing what happened, all aspects of this thing can be looked at. We cannot today, as we speak, you and I, say that the training is bad. No. I said, let us look at the command and control structure, what really happened, and then it can be addressed dispassionately.
Okay. Captain, hold on for me just a moment. Let me go back to Dr. Kojo Asante, who's been on the line with us for a moment. Let's look, Dr. Asante, at the mix of political parties and these wings that sometimes they form. We've seen a reaction by former President Mahama, and we've seen the reactions by the NDC as a party. Would you say that the NDC as a party, first of all, went too far in pulling out of the election and calling their polling agents?
Well, I mean, I don't know what kind. I mean, because a lot of the Kodewo report also shows that there were many places where voting went, calmly, and people cast their votes and so on and so forth. So it's not every place where these, violence occurred. So I don't know the extent to which. I mean, I think the particular matter that had provoked this had to do probably with the issue that happened at the candidate's home. So I mean that's the decision of the party. But as I said, it's not. I would not think that it was widespread, to affect all their agents. But if they thought that the issue that had happened at the candidate's home was enough to affect, the security of their agents, then that's their call. Of course, technically, once the candidate was on the ballot, there's nothing, a withdrawal could not technically happen, right? So the issue really is there's a lot of talk, even from the chairman of the party, about mobilizing, to protect ballots and so on and so forth. And the simple, for me, advice to everybody is that this is not going to end well for anybody. Nobody is going to win any election with brute force or any kind of, mass mobilization. It's just not going to end well. At the end, if you want to rule, you have to have the legitimate support of the people, and the only way that can happen is that everybody is free and fair elections, and everybody can go to the polls peacefully and cast their vote. That's the only way that's going to happen. So the sooner we talk about demobilization of all of these groups, and if we're going to do that, then the police have a big role to play. So that's why this particular incident that happened at this by-election really worries everybody, because the police have to show their impartiality, their expertise, their organization, ensure that everybody understands the rules, and educate everybody about how they are going to conduct their security arrangements. And for me, this is going to be a test case, how they are going to deal with the shooting incident, that happened. Because as at now, I don't know what exactly happened, who shot what, so what kind of investigation is going to happen.
Okay.
And it's going to be impartial, so that those who are responsible are held accountable for it.
But Captain Retired Budukumsin, in the case where the IGP is appointed by a president, stays in an acting capacity for so long, in fact, some political parties state this as the reason for mobilizing security wings in the first place. How do we realistically deal with having an impartial police which is able to, sufficiently deal with these issues dispassionately? Hello, Captain.
Yes.
Yes, I was asking you that a lot of complaints have been made, even by senior officials of the police, that because the IGP is appointed by the president, it's difficult for the police to be independent. How do we realistically navigate a situation like this and make sure that every party is treated fairly?
Well, it's interesting to say that because the IGP is appointed by the president, it's difficult for the president, for the IGP to be independent. But the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I mean, the U.S. head of the armed forces is also appointed by the president. And doesn't mean that he should kowtow 100% to the president. We are talking about professionalism here. And I don't think presidents expect that once I appoint you, you jump at anything I say. And it's up to the professionalism and the resilience and the character and the capacity of the individual to advise the boss properly as to what is good and what is bad and what should be the real thing. I don't know what goes into appointing these people. I think people are appointed on their merit. And if we look at if they are appointed rightly, then they should be able to. I don't buy that 100% as an excuse. I don't buy that 100% as an excuse.
Well, this is coming from the police themselves, and they have said this on many occasions, how it's difficult for them to be independent. In fact, like I said earlier, some political parties say it is because of this that they need to mobilize, they need to have vigilante groups in the first place.
No. But you see, the thing is that maybe in the past, the incumbent governments have tended to abuse the police and the security agencies, and that is what has actually lent credence to this thing. It was quite unfortunate, the statement I heard from a very senior statesman about the genesis of some political organization and how those sorts of things. These are the things that actually incite, and make it difficult for the security agencies to work. But I would say that if that is not working well, that is why we have Parliament and we have people who make laws and who make all these regulations. Let us look at how these key sensitive positions are appointed and what structures they can put in place to secure or make them a bit of space. I mean, the Mueller, the special investigator in the U.S., wasn't he appointed by the president? If he was appointed by the president, are we saying that the president is dictating everything that he does? I am not saying that the police commanders are not doing what is right. I don't think that is the only determinant of whether they are not able to give the best advice or not. I don't think so. That is the only. If it is, then we have to quickly look at it, like someone suggested, Dr. Amy suggested that we have to look at the security architecture of the state and look at appointments should be based on merit, and also try to protect these agencies as much as possible from political influence. Definitely, the commander-in-chief has absolute control. He is the commander, and we see Donald Trump commanding wonderfully in the U.S., But we have to put in mechanisms also to give these professionals some space to be professional.
Dr. Asante, so Captain Budukumsin initially disagrees with the sentiment that the police, if I can use that expression, can be seen as being under the thumb of government, as some police officials have alluded to earlier. Would you agree with the police when they say that, and what would you say is the solution?
Sorry, I missed your premise. The premise of your question. Sorry.
Yes. With Captain Budukumson's position that he thinks that the police should be professional, it is not really the case that if you are appointed by someone, then it becomes difficult for you to act independently, as some police have claimed. Do you agree with this sentiment?
Well, I think that we have come to this point because this particular proposals and concerns are being raised by some of the police hierarchy themselves, and it's coming from a certain peculiar experience. On the face of it, yes, the appointment of a president should not create this kind of problem for police command and control and the hierarchy structure within the police system. But the reality is that our political culture, which tends to try to influence the conduct of police one way or the other, particularly around, certain issues around particularly elections or even just the way in which they are deployed. So one of the things that the incentive structure that is has created, why a lot of times the police are unable to act, is because it affects promotions and transfers. It's one of the ways in which this type of political influence is used, to cow people into submission and basically non-action. Because you will be penalized, you will be transferred, that can have implications for your family, for children going to school, for your promotion. And people have had experiences when we've gone around the country around the vigilante problem, and one of the things that all police people talk about is this. So we've been doing this, and if you've had the number of turnovers that we have 3 so far since 1992, you can understand that people have been bent on both sides in the last 25 years that we have been we practicing this democracy in the Fourth Republic. So it's not abstract. This is something that is coming from Dr. Abozo talked about it. The police hierarchy have not been happy with what he's been saying. DOP Kofi Boakye has talked about it recently. And everybody who has interacted on this subject knows that this is a problem. So certainly it's one of the proposals that are being made. Whether or not it would necessarily cure the problem is we are all yet to know, but we haven't tried it yet. So this is where it's coming from. But this is not a short-term problem. We have some short-term fixes to this, and a dialogue definitely needs to happen. The police have to look at their engagement strategies. The worst case scenario where people are mobilizing, we have to look at how that is going to be curtailed, in a way that does not endanger the public. So those are some of the things that I think has to happen.
Right. So Captain, finally, Captain, what should we do differently before the election 2020 to prevent something like this from happening?
Well, I would say that there is this quote, is that it is not so much what has happened to you that is important, but more importantly is your reaction to what has happened, how you react to situations. The first, what I would say is that we have to be very, very measured in our interpretation of things, be very, very measured in the public statements that we do, especially all those in leadership positions, because what you say could influence and incite and position the minds of people for how they react in the future. So another thing that comes out of this is that in reportage, maybe the media commission should also come in and have a talk with the press houses, the media people, and all parties involved, so that we can avoid reportage or a style of reportage that will set a stage for a certain outcome. Orchestrations and incitements from all sides should be avoided. And I would say that security and peace experts should absolutely and urgently investigate exactly what this thing has happened, that investigate it, and make sure that they come out with recommendations for both political operatives and security operatives to avoid what happened here. It could also be that this is a strange situation where it's a by-election. There's an over-concentration of effort from political actors and a concentration of effort maybe also from the security agencies. So then the situation is so tense, it's like a powder keg. It's a test of what will happen in the future. These sorts of things should be addressed and maybe diffused. That is the comments I will make.
Right. Thank you very much, Captain retired Budu Kumsin. And let me go back to Dr. Kojo Asante for his final words, particularly in terms of political action, looking at what the former president Mahama has said, saying that respect must be given to the Constitution, and the statements he made about the NDC. What should we do going forward?
Well, I think there's already, as I said, the CODEO, the National Peace Council, there are a number of actors that have already been engaging and talking about how we're going to deal with issues around security, for our elections, and particularly to deal with vigilantism and so on and so forth. So that discussion has started already. I think it just has to be escalated. I agree that I think we need to look at this in a very, very serious way and try to understand exactly what has happened, what triggered what. But for me, as I said, a lot of talking has to be done. We basically have to de-escalate all of the rhetoric and so on that is coming. The parties have to understand that, as I said, you cannot win and govern this country through brute force. It's not going to happen. Nobody is going to legitimately run this country that way. And if people try to do that, it can only just lead to chaos. So the option is to dialogue, is to clarify the rules, and there has to be a lot of education. I think the point about letting people know how the security perimeters work during election time, that is not just to go to political parties and their leadership. It has to be across board to citizens, so that when they see things happening, they can understand and appreciate, and they don't react wrongly. So that's one of the things that with NCC and so on, we have to be able to do with the EC, educate people around these kinds of things.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kojo Asante, for joining us. He's the Director of Advocacy and Policy Engagement at the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Ghana. And also Captain retired Budu Kumsin is CEO of Nexus Consulting, Financial Leadership and Security. He joined us on the other line. You're still live on the Super Morning Show. Enjoy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Dazi. We'll take this quick batch of messages. When we come back, we'll take your thoughts. 0244 340 437 and 0302 216 541. Those are the call lines. We'll be right back.
At Afrodan, we believe that many of the problems people have with their health is as a result of the way they sit. In other words, your chair can kill you. Here's Dr. Marcus Mann of the Chiropractic and Wellness Center.
What you have to remember is that the spine is the lifeline to your body, and posture is the window to that spine. Now, posture is affected by your daily activities and habits like sitting. That's why at the Chiropractic and Wellness Centers, we recommend what I believe to be the best chairs available for preventing not only subluxations, but also other health problems that you may not be aware of. And that's Rabami and Mobilex chairs. Unfortunately, on a daily basis, I have to correct the effects of this poor sitting habit in our businessmen and businesswomen. Always remember, optimal spine equals optimum health.
So, for the sake of your health, buy Rabami or Mobilex chairs from Afrodan. We're on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade. Telephone 663-085.
Oh. And my claim is not covered by the insurance policy I arranged. Parkwesi, I've always advised you to let J&G Insurance Brokers, the insurance professional, handle your insurance to avoid gaps. At J&G, we analyze your insurance needs, we arrange cover with the best insurer with a track record of prompt claims payment, and above all, we facilitate and negotiate your claims. Call Dr. Gideon Amenyedo, the CEO, on 0244 333335 or 0504 333335. You can also email him, Gideon, at jnginsurancebrokers.com or visit our website, jnginsurancebrokers.com.
Thank you very much, Egenam. I'm calling Doctor right away.
At J&G Insurance Brokers, negotiating a great insurance deal is our business.
Kofi, yankoda, adiasa.
Mamina hakakra, enchemeba.
Entuntum wa hapao. Minji ndi so pesa yare biu.
Sweetie, me ya yare o. Mi ti Ode mesrew. Onko draster ho onko pedro bi mreme.
Ade na wo ma yanko hospital. Eho de ye be hu ade pot na eyo na doctor ahweso ama wano aduru.
Eye pa se Kofi ko hospital ma doctor hwe hunu de na ha no pot ma no aduru pepepe. Nipa bebre ne firi omu pemu koto aduru wo pharmacy shop wo bra won hwehwe hunu ade e ha wo mo. We betimi di sunsun aso bone aba omo apomuden so. Enye fever bia na ye malaria.
Anti nurse ni maye malaria test no. Ane Kofi wo malaria ampa.
Doctor actually say Kofi mfa ACT.
Kofi bomodia se wo befa ACT eduro no. Se nia ya kire wo no pepepe.
Odo eye pa se e bae. Medro ni aka ni o. Manom se ni esi kire me pepepe. Na onim bribi.
Eji sa wo ka kire me.
Efi ene ekọ no. Ye fi ha de ye ne malaria to kwanta ya pai kra.
Asem de. Na mama bi sa wo anadri. Ehifa e na obeda.
Wa wunim medo se de mosquito net ayahye na dro no. Eno nko ase ne beda. Abrabapa boni ye eye da bia adeyo. Enkan boy if we Ghana Health Service any USAID eho.
Let's go
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Luciano le meoko no fiano ye meoko. What are you looking for? Melcom got it all. Great discount, dodo. Yamafia so. Best bargains on our days. Everything here is a bargain. High quality, could be a priority. So tell your mom, tell Poppy, tell your actually everybody.
Since inception, almost 100% of Ashesi University students have found jobs, started businesses, or gone on to graduate school within 6 months of graduation. From Accra to Nairobi, London to New York, Ashesi graduates are noticed and they are leading successful careers. If you dream of a rewarding life and career, an Ashesi education prepares you for just that. Learn more about applying to Ashesi at www.ashesi.edu.gh. Remember, admission is ongoing.
Now, this very moment, it's the pulse of possibility, potential, power. It's time
to make your move.
To take that step.
The time
is now.
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 The great things you do tomorrow start with the small steps you take right now. So take that step with Old Mutual. Call us on 0302-230-638 and make now count. Old Mutual. Do great things every day.
So everyone says I'm a Kosia filler, but it's not like I'm nosy or go out to find out the latest filler. It's just that I get 50 megabytes of data free after paying for only the first minute of every call. And so I just keep discovering stuff minute after minute. That's how come I was minding my business, scrolling through my timeline, and I found out Coco has a new baby. Oh, and last week, I learned Ken won the lottery. You see, Ken is my brother's friend. So hello! Look who's about to roll with the rich and famous.
Enjoy even more value with MTN Free After One. You only pay for the first minute of your call on MTN Free After One, and the rest is free. Plus, you enjoy free 50 megabytes worth of data to browse your favorite sites. Compare where, compare there. So dial *315# to sign up. We day for you everywhere you go. Terms and conditions apply.
Coffee in your cup and Joy on the set. The Super Morning Show is always the best bet on Joy 99.7 FM.
5 minutes to the top of the hour here on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. You're hearing the maestro Kojo Entry. Remember, you can join us at the Joy FM Lovers Dinner Dance at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel on the 14th of February, 7 p.m. Get a ticket for a cool 800 Ghana cedis for a full buffet dinner for two and live performance from Kojo Entry. But we are opening the phone lines 0302-216-541. The phone lines are officially open 020-0244-340437 0302-216-541. What should we do to avoid this situation in the 2020 elections?
Joy 99.7 FM.
Now your text messages are brought to you by Afrodan. Your back must last you a lifetime. In Glyco Travel Insurance Policy, we cushion you for life. Afrodan is offering you today the most comfortable chair in the world, the Nightingale Extreme Comfort Chair. It has over 10 thoughtfully engineered features, especially customized for your health and comfort. So go to Afrodan on the first floor of the Swansea Shopping Arcade and feel this chair. You will be amazed. 0302-216-541, 0302-216-541, 0244-340-437. Ceci is calling from Chado. Good morning, Ceci.
Hello, good morning.
Great. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, good. How about you?
I am blessed. What do you think we should do to avoid this in 2020?
Please, number one, let all civil society groups be stopped wherever they get funding from. Anyone who is funding civil society groups in Ghana, I'm sure they just take the money and spend it on themselves.
That'll be very unfair to say to a civil society group.
I'm talking to the international bodies, those who are sponsoring civil society groups in Ghana, to put a hold to it. Because they don't care about the ordinary Ghanaian. It is not just the work of the IGP. They are not educating us. Don't depend on the political parties. They are businessmen. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
The politicians are doing their business. The civil society groups, they must wake up and tell us that, look, this thing is wrong. Let us not do it. Number two, the youth don't have jobs. The youth, they don't have jobs. And the politicians, they will never provide them jobs, because if they provide them with jobs, they will not get people to follow them.
Very insightful point you made there, Ceci. Thanks for calling. Ceci called from Chado. Ekia is on the line from Osu. Good morning, Ekia.
Good morning, Kojo. How are you?
I am blessed. Let's hear you.
Kojo, since yesterday, I've not been myself. I keep asking myself, are we safe in this country? Under this government? What is going on? This thing has been happening since 1992. But we expect that by now, there should be some improvements in our security service. The IGP is sitting there. The police reports say they are on the ground. And look at what happened yesterday. Are we waiting for 20 or 30 people to lose their lives before we say, oh, we are on top of the job? What is going on? The Invisible and the Delta forces must be demolished. We are sick and tired of them. Ghana does not belong to NPP and NDC. We are tired of them. My child goes to school there. So what? Something else had happened to her. Why? Why? Are we safe? Delta Force and Invisible, we are tired. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ekia, calling from Osu. We'll take the Joy Business Minutes for 1 minute. And then we'll come back and continue with your phone call. Stay with us.
Good morning. Welcome to the Joy Business Minute. It's me, Daryl. The planned takeover of the operations and assets of ECG by Power Distribution Service Ghana Limited has been postponed. Persons close to the company whose takeover was championed by Miracle Consortium have told Joy Business that the delay is as a result of challenges in completing the transfer of some assets. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has postponed plans to announce new utility tariffs to next week. If the announcement is made, implementation of the tariffs would start from the 1st of March. The GRA has disclosed that the state got more than 100 million cedis from Vodafone Ghana through transfer pricing. Transfer pricing from business transactions contributed more than $400 million of the GRA's revenue last year. Elsewhere, China's trade delegation says it made important progress in the latest round of talks with the US. At the end of the two-day meeting in Washington, no deal was reached, but China pledged to buy more US soybeans. Those are the latest stories.
Joy 99.7 FM.
And that was the Joy Business Minute. Told you to take just a minute. I'm going straight to the phone lines now, straight back to the phone lines now to speak to Ellie, who is calling from Wager. But the phone lines are 0302 216 541 and 0244 340 437. Good morning, Ellie.
Good morning, Daniel. How are you?
I am blessed. How are you?
By the grace, we are surviving.
Awesome.
Listening to and watching video on TV, what happened yesterday, it's so pathetic. But do you remember getting to 2016 election? One, I've forgotten his name, and he said, Akufo-Addo becoming a president, our security is in jeopardy. I don't know if you still have that tape. The way you play Kofi Boachi's voice, you should play that tape so that everybody will be aware that we have been warned before the election, but still we go ahead to select Nana-Addo to become our president. And now we are seeing the consequence. You just wait and see. He will come out and say, oh, I will not sit down for people to do blah, 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 blah. But the things will still continue. He will never do anything. And this IGP is the worst IGP we have seen in the history of Ghana. He will just come, issue statements. He's doing nothing.
Right. Osei is on the line from Kumasi. Good morning, Osei. Good morning, Osei.
Hi, good morning.
Let's hear you.
Yes. Ayawaso elections. I thought it was going to give us a blueprint of how a civilized Ghanaian society is going to have its election in 2024. Unfortunately, this is what we saw. We need to sit up. When you have journalists reporting incidents like this, like it was a football match, happily giving commentary on it, police people begging vigilante people to to stop what they are doing. We have to add professionalism to whatever we are doing. And I think Ayawaso failed us because I thought it was an elitist society. If it had happened in any other society, we could have given an excuse to them, but not there. Thank you.
Thank you, Osei, for calling from Kumasi. It's 3 minutes past 9. The phone lines are 0302216541, 0244-340437. We are asking, how can we avoid something like this from happening in the 2020 elections? Mohammed is calling from Kumasi. Mohammed, what do you think?
Very pathetic.
So how can we avoid something like this from happening in 2020?
You know, last time my lecturer told me the only way to solve the problem of weapons of mass destruction is for everybody to have its own weapons of mass destruction. So if the NPP has refused to dissolve their vigilante groups, every political party should form their vigilante groups. So
no, Mohammed, that is not a legal move to make, so we'll not allow you to encourage illegalities on the platform. Kofi Bedu calls from Kumasi. Good morning, Kofi Bedu.
Good morning, Daddy. How are you doing?
I am blessed. How are you doing?
I'm also doing well.
Great. So what do you think is the solution? How do we avoid this from happening going forward?
Before I even get to the solution, I think that Kofi Buachi had been put in the wrong position. This guy has a lot of intelligence, creating intelligence on the ground. And he actually forewarned of what is happening here. And I think he has been put in a wrong position. And what I'm also gathering on the ground is that the NDC people are also regrouping, in fact, equipping their groups to stand off against what happened. What I'm getting is that they're also providing them with the same uniform with inscription NSC, with vehicles to stand up against this guy.
Kofi. So what's the solution, really?
The solution is that I think Kofi Buachi should be the best position to be IGP. That's the only solution.
Thank you, Kofi Bedu. You called from Kumasi. Abdul is calling from Nima. Abdul, we want to know how, as media men, as citizens, as government, as a society, we can prevent something like this from happening in the 2020 elections. Good morning, Abdul.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Let's hear you.
Fine this morning. Yes.
I'm blessed. Let's hear you.
Yes, first of all, I want to believe you agree with me that we are in a shithole country. Now, the point to make is...
What's the statement you made?
We are in a shithole country.
Oh, Abdul, please, I can't allow you to continue. Sorry. So you can call us on 0302-216-541, 0244-340437.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Gabriel is calling from KJB. Good morning, Gabriel.
Hello, my brother. Good morning.
Yes, please go ahead. And please, Gabriel, just a second. Let me just apologize to listeners for allowing that comment to pass earlier. It's my fault. I truly apologize for that. You don't tune into the Super Morning Show to hear language like that. Gabriel, stick to my questions, please. What do you think we can do generally to avoid something like this from happening in the 2020 elections?
Thank you for the opportunity. Once again, I'm Gabriel Janka. I'm calling from KJB, to be precise, in the Volta region. This vigilantism actor is not giving us good name as a country and is tarnishing the image of Ghana. So what I think as a citizen of this country that we can do is to call the various political parties. I am suspecting that it is the various political parties that are motivating these kind of groups to be causing mayhem in our country, so that we talk to them, educate them, use God to put the fear of God into them. Ghana is a God-loving country, so that nobody should do anything to tarnish the image of our country. If there is war right now, there is no place for us to go. We should think about the elderly, our children, people who cannot even walk, the physically, the disabled people. so that there will be peace in our country.
But don't you think, Gabriel,
education?
Gabriel, don't you think that these politicians have been educated sufficiently in the past? I mean, we've seen several engagements. The NCCE has engaged them. They have embarked on a national campaign. We are still seeing things like this happening.
Yes, thank you very much for that input. NCCE is doing a lot. And I also wanted to appeal to international bodies, NGOs, and the government to support the NCCE. They should resource the NCCE with their logistics. When you go to some of their districts, they are using motorbikes, and which is the year is overdue. For about 10 years now, some of their offices don't even have a bicycle. So let us resource them so that they can do their work well. NCCE is doing absolutely well. Yes, I agree with you.
Thank you very much for calling. Kofi is on the line from Kumasi. Good morning, Kofi. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What do you think we can do? I am blessed, Kofi. I am blessed. I hope you are as well.
From Kumasi.
Awesome. Kofi, what do you think we can do to solve this?
See, the President Kufuor once said, "All die be die," and this mantra has become the problem since then. If the president will come back and retract that "or die be die" mantra, I think people will sit up. Look at what these invisible forces, the data forces, and the rest have been doing. If the NDC hierarchy did not restrain the supporters and they had retaliated, what will have happened? And Daniel, don't forget, NDC, we are not cowards. We can face them boot to boot. But
no, Kofi, cool heads must reign. Cool heads must reign. I'm going to take Oti. He's on the line from Tema. Good morning, Oti.
Good morning, Daniel.
Awesome. So what do you think we must do, as a people, as media men, as citizens, as individuals? If this is how politicians are behaving, what must you and I do?
One thing to help Ghanaians that politicians, yes, when I watch your video, if you're a politician, you go into the place they are voting, don't go and insult the scrutineer. Don't go assault them. You see, you are there to just go and look how the election is going. Why confronting the policemen? You see, you must tell the truth to them, politicians. Stop that.
Are you referring to Sam George?
Yes.
He was insulting a policeman.
Because he said that how are you going to kill somebody in his house?
Is that an insult?
It's not insult, but why do you confront him? Because you don't know what's happening. They have not killed anyone. Have you seen that somebody have died? You see, we must stop that. The peaceful that will happen. I should go there and see that no one will come from other side and do something massively there. But I should not go and insult people. Go and sack people from there. It's not happen. All the time, they'll go and sack people. They'll go and bully people. And it will come. They should stop that. You see?
Thank you very much for calling. Oti called from Tema. Raphael is on the line from North Kanishi. Good morning, Raphael.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I am blessed. How are you? So, Raphael, we are asking that generally, how can we avoid this? Not just from the point of view of politicians, but as citizens as well. Even for me as a media man, what's your suggestion for me? How can we avoid this?
No, I just want to know if you are in your home. Let's say you are built. Can someone just enter and shoot you without proving why the person is in there? I think that the political parties must employ those who are more matured to witness their voting, let's say party agents or other things. Because if the guys that are party agents or party, even if they are vigilante groups, whatever, if they are more matured and they are more sensitive to issues, they will not go ahead to even harm anybody. I have been party agent myself some time ago, but we sit down together, we discuss, and I believe that Ghana election process is one of the best and sophisticated one.
Right.
Because you have everybody witnesses, and you have your document with you. So I don't understand why voting should be an issue. Go and vote for us to count. It shouldn't be an issue.
Raphael, thank you so much for calling. John is calling from Spintex Road. Good morning, John. Good morning, John. Okay, unfortunately, we lost John there, and we are unable to pick any more phone calls. It's up to you and I, really. Ultimately, the peace and stability of this country is our mutual responsibility. What that means is that we should treat an election as it is, a decision, an opportunity to choose, the bedrock of our democracy. We should go and display what makes it good to be Ghanaian, what makes other countries define democracy as Ghana. Peace, maturity, calmness. Let's go cast our ballots, come back home, and still be Ghanaians. It's not about fighting. It's not about one party or the other. It's about our country. Let's place the national interest first. That's what we believe here on the Super Morning Show. And I'll end by saying this. You know what? State and party both have 5 letters. But state is always bigger than party. We're going to take these important messages, and when we come back, we'll talk about relationships, because it's Friday, and as we are entering the month of love, or we have entered the month of love, we are asking a simple question. Do we take weddings more seriously than marriage? Do we prioritize the ceremony over the lifetime? What do you think? We'll be back to talk about that.